A poor boy once read books by candlelight on the floor of a tiny cabin. One day, he became the President of the United States. This is the inspiring story of Abraham Lincoln. Welcome back to another story with English Story Beats. In 1809, a baby was born in a one-room log cabin in Kentucky, USA. The cabin had no windows, no glass, no floor except dirt. The family was very poor. The baby's name was Abraham. Abraham Lincoln. He would grow up to lead a nation through its darkest hour. But first, he had to survive his own. When Abraham was young, his family moved to Indiana. Life was hard. His father cleared forests to make farmland. His mother worked from morning to night. There was very little food, very little warmth, and almost no school. The nearest school was miles away. It was open only when a teacher could be found. Sometimes that was a few weeks a year. Sometimes less. But Abraham loved to read. He loved it more than anything. Words on a page felt alive to him. They carried him to other worlds, worlds far from the cold, dark cabin. He borrowed books from anyone who would lend them. He read the Bible. He read fables. He read history. He walked miles through forests and fields just to borrow a single book. At night, when the fire burned low, Abraham would lie on the dirt floor near the fireplace. He read by the flickering light of the flames. His mother watched him and smiled. She could not read herself, but she knew her son was different. Then tragedy arrived. When Abraham was 9 years old, his mother became sick. She died within days. The family was destroyed. Abraham was only a child. He did not know how to feel so much sadness. He sat by her grave for days. His father, Thomas, was a quiet and struggling man. He did not know how to comfort his children. The home grew cold, not just from the weather, but from grief. Then, after a year, Thomas Lincoln went back to Kentucky. He came back with a woman named Sarah. Sarah became Abraham's stepmother. She was a warm, strong woman. She brought furniture, blankets, and food. But most importantly, she brought kindness. She looked at Abraham and saw something special. She told his father, "This boy needs books." She brought more books into the home. She encouraged Abraham to read, to think, to speak. She became his second mother and his greatest supporter. Abraham read every book he could find. He read so much that he began to think very clearly. He began to write very well. He began to speak in ways that made people stop and listen. He did not go to school for more than 1 year, total. 1 year. But he became one of the best educated minds in America. Because he educated himself. He also worked hard with his body. He chopped wood. He split rails. He helped neighbors build their homes. He was tall, strong, and quiet. But when he spoke, everyone listened. As a young man, Abraham moved to a small town in Illinois called New Salem. He worked many jobs. He was a store clerk. He was a postmaster. He helped survey land. Everyone liked him. People called him Honest Abe because he never lied, even when the truth was difficult. One day, he borrowed a law book and read it. He was fascinated. He read it again and again. He borrowed more law books. He walked 20 miles to borrow a single book. He read law by himself. No teacher. No school. No tutor. Just books, a candle, and an unbreakable determination. He taught himself law and passed the bar exam. He became a lawyer. People came to him with their problems, their injustices, their heartbreaks. He listened carefully. He argued clearly. He won many cases. But Abraham Lincoln did not stop there. He entered politics. He lost elections. He failed in business. His first great love died of typhoid fever. He suffered terrible depression. He called it the what we today call deep depression. There were times when friends worried he might harm himself. But he kept going. He said once, "I am not concerned that you have fallen. I am concerned that you arise." He arose. He ran for the United States Senate and lost. He ran again and lost again. He lost so many times that people began to wonder if he was wasting his life. But Lincoln kept going. In 1860, Abraham Lincoln ran for President of the United States. People said he was too tall, too ugly, too poor, too uneducated, too much of everything that did not fit the idea of a president. But the people voted, and Abraham Lincoln became the 16th President of the United States. The boy from the dirt floor cabin. The boy who read by firelight. The boy who taught himself everything. He was now the most powerful man in the country. But his greatest challenge was just beginning. America was splitting apart. The question of slavery, whether some humans could own other humans, had divided the nation. Southern states left the Union. A civil war began. It was the bloodiest war in American history. More than 600,000 people died. Abraham Lincoln led the nation through every terrible day of it. He visited wounded soldiers. He wrote letters to mothers who lost their sons. He made impossible decisions. He aged terribly under the weight of it. But he did not break. On January 1, 1863, Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. It declared that all enslaved people in the Confederate States were free. It was one of the most important documents in human history. The war ended in April 1865. America survived. And slavery was abolished. 5 days after the war ended, Abraham Lincoln was shot at a theater in Washington, D.C. He died the next morning. The nation wept. The man who had saved them was gone. But what he built never fell. Today, Abraham Lincoln is remembered as one of the greatest leaders in history. Not because he was born with privilege. Not because he had a great education. But because he refused to let poverty, grief, failure, or even depression stop him from learning, from growing, and from doing what was right. He once said, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first for sharpening the axe." That was Abraham Lincoln. He never ran at a problem unprepared. He sharpened his mind with every book he read. He sharpened his character with every failure he survived. He sharpened his purpose with every injustice he refused to accept. And when his moment came, the moment his country needed him most, he was ready. The boy who had nothing. Who had no school, no money, no connections. He had something better. He had a love of learning that nothing could take away. And that love of learning changed the world. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories and English learning videos. And let us know in the comments what type of story you want to hear next.